Well, good day, everyone. Our webinar today is on Become the Ultimate Taskmaster with Evernote for Real Estate Agents. The webinar itself will be 45 minutes in length. Well, so the presentation today is with our special guest, David, who is a leading agent in Edmonton, and he is with Remax Real Estate. David also is an Evernote certified consultant. In fact, when I was speaking with him, he was telling me he was one of the first ones in Canada to be an agent that actually is licensed as a certified consultant. So he's going to bring us a wealth of knowledge today on how we can optimize use of Evernote into our daily business. David is very innovative, lots of great strategies on how to build your business using technology. He's been licensed in Edmonton for the last 7 years. David, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And well, my name is Riki, and I'm the founder of RankMyAgent. We started RankMyAgent in 2014 with the mission to raise the bar in our industry and connect the very best agents to the public. And our next phase, of course, is to collaborate together as a community of agents, which are over about 4,000 agents Canada-wide and into the US right now. And we want to collaborate together to help each other grow. I have with myself Mara as well, who manages account management. Mara, do you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. As you know, I'm Mara, and I'm your go-to for Rank My Agents. I handle social media and accounts. And if you ever have a question about how Rank My Agent works, you can always reach me at mara@rankmyagent.com or support@rankmyagent.com.
Perfect. So now at this time, I'm going to pass it to David so we can kickstart our presentation on Evernote. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and give him control.
All right, so share my screen. There we go.
Perfect, we can see it.
Hi, everyone, it's David Demian here. I just want to introduce myself real quickly. So yes, I'm an Evernote certified business consultant and one of the first ones in Western Canada. It's definitely been an amazing experience, and I'm going to show you some of the things about this program. One of them is you're going to love it, and two, you're going to love it. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to show you some really key features about how Evernote works. It is going to be fairly kind of like simplistic in regards to how to set it up and how to configure it. But at the end of it, I'm going to show you some very key takeaways that I think you should definitely take a screenshot of or share. As I was told as well that at the end of this presentation, you will get this video of Evernote being presented. And let me know if you have any questions. So once again, it's David Demian, and we're going to continue on with the presentation right away here. So Evernote certified consultant, working smarter with Evernote. So I'm one of the only people that I know of, I think there's only 2 in all of North America that are certified Evernote consultants and a real estate agent. So I can bring value from both ends. Basically, I can show you how I use this program and how real estate agents should be using this program in order to make better use of it. So there's a lot to manage. So at the end of the day, there's you. And we got tons of stuff: emails, tasks, projects, notes, agendas, more meetings, documents. Basically, we're dealing with a ton of information. And everyone tells us that we're in the information age now, which means that we're constantly daunted by tons of info from different directions. And there's nothing worse than trying to manage several deals, several clients, several emails, several buyers, several sellers, all from your email, all from your phone, and losing track of everything along the way. So what is Evernote? So Evernote is it's a modern workspace. Basically, whatever you need, whatever you're doing, it follows you around. So Evernote is the one-stop shop in regards to categorizing and keeping all of your content together. Currently, there's over 150 million users worldwide with Evernote. 70% use Evernote for work, which is what I would recommend for you to do is both personal and work, because we're sole entrepreneurs here. And then working smarter with Evernote, Evernote in action. So I'm going to show you some of the ways that you can use Evernote. And I've used some generic stuff here just to give you an overall idea of how it can be used. So working smarter with Evernote, keeping track of the people you meet. So a ton of times we're at networking events, you meet people, and what ends up happening is there's so much information, so many things, so many people that it's hard to keep track of who you're meeting. One of the solutions that they have is you can scan business cards. So as you go to conferences, you're able to grab the business card that you get, put it up to your phone camera, and within the app, it actually pulls the information. So in this example, you can see Josh, who's one of the main coordinators behind Evernote. When you take a screenshot or a shot of his business card, it's able to capture all of his information from LinkedIn. So you get his photo imported in, you get his full name, his title, his company, and then whatever information is available on his business card. So before you pocket your next business card, use Evernote on your iPhone, iPad, anything to just basically get the information you need from that business card so you can keep in touch with the person. Now, a little added note is when you do this in person, at the very bottom, you can't see it on the screen here, but if you scroll to the very bottom, it allows you to take additional notes. In those additional notes, I talk about who the person is, what we talked about, what their general interest is, what value I can provide for them, and then I can follow up with them afterwards with more facts. Once this is imported in, you'll always have it. So I'll show you later on, as you're doing a deal or as you're communicating with someone with the same name, this business card and this information will pop up once again. So once it's imported into Evernote, it takes a look like this. So you want to tag with important information here. So this is what they've said. So they said, okay, prospect, San Francisco. We have all the content from their business card, which it's pulled as well as the information from LinkedIn. So once captured by Evernote, that person's business card becomes a note that you can then add information to. So for instance, you can add tags, details, whether the person is a lead, what their interests are, where they are located. You can then easily search by the person or by the tag later on. So this is one way of categorizing information within Evernote. So here you can see the prospect, San Francisco, right? Okay, so since this person's info is now at Evernote, you can also add your own notes, kind of like what we talked about before on the phone. So where you met them, what you discussed, the key details that help you jog your memory about them. And if you're meeting with them repeatedly, you can update this note each time you have a meeting with them. So kind of like a CRM, you're able to add information as things happen. So you can add timestamps and add content information. So here we see that met at conference at this date. So even adding simple details like date when you meet someone and where you met them can help you further connect with the people you meet. So here, every single time we connect with Josh, we can have a little note. And you can do these things in such a way that it automatically date and timestamps it as you're putting in information. Okay. If you end up doing business with this person, you can attach PDFs of contacts, designs for their projects, or any other files related to your work together. Everything will be searchable once it's in Evernote. So as you are working with someone, you can add content to the file, right? As part of building relationships with people, you're probably communicating over email. If there are important parts of your conversation that you want to hold on to, you can actually forward them directly into Evernote. You don't have to, you don't want to forward every conversation, but just the details and key project ideas, updates, and milestones. Once Evernote can easily collect and import your emails, conversations for that person, right alongside the other notes and the files you've been collecting. So basically what you're able to do is if you're communicating, let's say in this case with Josh, and an important email comes up, like a contract or a sale of something of the sort, what you're able to do is forward it onto Evernote. So Evernote will keep that file for you. Now, if you're using, let's say, DocuSign, and DocuSign sends you a copy of that, you can set it up that DocuSign automatically sends the contract that's been completed into your Evernote. Or if you would like, you can have that information directly sent to your email service or anything else. Once again, any emails that come in that are important can be kept on file. As well, you can, as your relationship builds, you can change the tags you've created to reflect how your relationship has grown. So in this case, for instance, right, now he's gone from a prospect, San Francisco, and then we just added a current client. So our relationship has now changed, right? If you tag the person as a prospect once, and then you've decided to work with you, you can change and easily add more tags and content. Working smarter with Evernote, managing your expenses and financial records. So start by creating a notebook to collect each year's financial records and expenses. Here we see all the notebooks, the ones owned by your company are gray, and your personal notebooks are brown. So you can see that here. So here we have personal and business, right? Since your company's financial information is owned by them, we've created a business notebook for your financial records. Now, for most real estate agents, depending on where you work, you are an entrepreneur, you are the professional, and you are the only employee of your business. So you can keep these together or you can keep them separate, depending on what you'd like. So each of these shows how many files are in each of these folders. So you can keep your expenses together, taxes together, anything you'd like. For record keeping and for getting reimbursed, you want to make sure you never lose a receipt or a bill. So right from your tablet or your phone, you can snap photos of a receipt and it will be kept in your financial notebook. Evernote will automatically make all of these details of your receipt searchable. So if you need to look up an expense, you can just search for the name or vendor. So great story about this. And a little bit of a side note. The other day I got a ticket. No, it wasn't for speeding, even though I own a sports car. But the ticket was for not updating my registration on my vehicle. And the cop came to the window and she's like, can I see your license and registration and insurance? Of course. So I pull up the paper and sure enough, the insurance I have in my car is expired. The paper, that is. But I do have real insurance on my vehicle. So I said, not a problem, officer. Just give me a moment. Let me just pull it up on my phone. And I reach into Evernote. I type in my vehicle name and I type in registration and it automatically pops up. And I'm able to give her my phone and she can see and validate for herself that yes, it is valid insurance. And yes, my ticket wasn't as bad as it could have been, right? So you can capture important information and receipts right from your phone. Once your receipt is captured in Evernote, you can then add even more details justifying the money you've spent. So in this case, we've put the name, the person, the amount, what it was for. You can basically create templates that can be used in this in order to keep track of information. So keep in mind, so far what we've gone over is as you file documents and as you file information, it's being stored for you in different places. And wherever you go, and this is the key part of Evernote, wherever you go, you're carrying that information with you. So let's say you're traveling. This is another real experience of mine. You're traveling, you're out somewhere, and all of a sudden, someone calls you and they want a particular receipt or a particular file. You're able to use your phone or even just go to a cafe and use the web service and pull up that information and send it to them instantly, right? Right, so here we have, just to highlight this a little bit more. So for instance, you can write notes of where you were, who you met with, an explanation of the expenditure. If you're submitting expenses for reimbursement, you can use tags to help the team track where the expenses are in the reimbursement cycle. Right, so here, approved, reimbursed. Adding bills and statements. So beyond receipts, your business will also keep good records of bills and other financial statements. Collect all of this in Evernote Business by attaching PDFs of statements from your computer or forwarding in bills from your email. If you have paper bill or a photo of it, Evernote will keep it on your phone and tablet and scan it with, or you can scan it with an external service as well and import it in here. So you can keep all the information you need exactly in your pocket without creating or holding folders or duotangs or big briefcases. As you're collecting expenses, bills, and statements in your notebook in Evernote, you'll want to make sure you can find your records later if you need them. To keep everything organized, tag items with the category that they match up with in your financial record keeping or bookkeeping system. So in this case, for this instance, if you have a parking receipt, tag it with auto. That way, if you ever need to gather your auto receipts for any given year, you can just search for that tag within the notebook and auto will show up. Of course, you can also find your expenses quickly by searching for the vendor's name or the date. Everything organized in Evernote. So you've collected everything for financial records in Evernote, including receipts, bills, statements, making it easy for you to if you ever need something or refer back to something, you have all the information on file. So let's see how Evernote helps a team in real estate office stay productive and organized. So once again, I've created a generic presentation in regards to how real estate agents could use this, and I'll save some of my very key ingredients for the very end of the presentation. So in this, we have Evernote in action for real estate teams. So we have Nicole, she's the agent. We have Renee, she's the associate, and Alex, the client. Right. So you want to educate the buyers and sellers. So here we've created an about us. We have our information that's templated and ready to go that we can just copy and paste into other places. But we've created a working folder that we're going to share with our clients. So we tell the buyer or the sellers a little about us, right? We create notes for FAQs. So in this, like, who owns the property? Can I inspect before I buy? Can I bring it to auction? What are some of the more common questions that are asked? Here we can capture clips from the web. So as we're going through and we're finding information that's relevant to our buyer or our seller, we can capture that information using the web clipper. A web clipper is an add-on that can go into Microsoft or into Chrome and will allow us to capture information as it happens. So here we see 23 things every first-time home buyer should know. And here, she's not grabbing the advertisements and all the other details, but just the main guts of the article. So collect everything in one spot. So now we have our testimonials, FAQs for sellers, frequently asked questions about us, 30 things we need, or every first-time home buyer needs. So we have the article. So now we've put this all into a folder called Client Education, and we can see that here. Okay. All right. So now, once we've created the folder that we want to share, we can share with our client, right? So here, share with individuals, so they can view or edit. We can change that as well. So here we can view notes and activity. We can just want them to review the notes. So in this case, we've created a small package for our client, and it's like, hi, Phil, great meeting you. Here's some information about me and the work I do. Let's connect next week and talk about your home. So we share what we've connected without using email. This is all done within the system itself. Okay, working together with clients. So you can clip properties that they might be interested in. And so what I used to do is I used to create presentations, not presentations, but folders of all of the notes from the real estate buyer showing. So I would go through and we would look at, let's say, 6 properties. So I would have the MLS sheet from that time, snapshot. I'd have maybe some photos, some information, and I'd also take notes as we're walking around these homes. Clients seemed interested in this, they really like this, they really like this. So basically, capturing as much information as I want and putting it into the client's folder. So once we share the workbook with them, they can start adding notes to it. So if I shared my notes with them, I could say, okay, well, in this case, Alex is going through and he's like, well, I really like this. I love these fixtures. I don't love this. So he's putting in his own information. So I'm creating a valuable source for them to really review at. As files and folders start coming in, that's when we start adding pictures, documents, contracts, and information. So I'm just going to sidetrack the conversation just for one quick moment, and I'll give you a great example. It was midnight. I was traveling through Europe, and one of my clients called me at about 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Edmonton time. He sent me a quick email, and he said, Dave, someone has left a note on my vehicle in my parking spot saying, hey, you're parked in my parking spot. Could you please move your vehicle? So he called me up and he was a little frustrated because according to him, that's his parking spot. And he just bought the condo. So the prior owner was never there, and the property and that parking spot was vacant most of the time. So someone assumed that parking spot had belonged to them. And now that my new clients have moved into the property, they were kind of confused at what exactly was going on. So I said, Taylor, listen, let me just look into this. But I believe that we didn't make an error. I believe the other person's within error. So quickly, I went into Evernote on my phone. Keep in mind, it's like midnight in Europe, and pulled up his file. And within his file, I had the summary notes from the property manager on his property, his designated unit, and his designated parking spot. And I forwarded that file instantaneously. Then I had a follow-up phone call with the client saying, hey, listen, I just sent you the information. It looks like someone's messed up, but it wasn't us. It was probably the property manager or the person who thinks that this parking spot belongs to them. So double check with the building manager and make sure nothing has changed, but you are in the right as of when we signed this paperwork. Another great example is, and this is a real world example, you're working with a seller, a seller's lawyer, and the seller's lawyer calls you up and it says, dude, I totally messed up. I can't find that email with the contract in it, and it's closing in the next 2 days. Can you send it to me? My response, yeah, not a problem. Send me a quick text message with your email in it, and I'll send you the file right now. I get the text message, the email's in there, copy the email, open up Evernote, open up the contract, forward it to them with their email address. I can do this while waiting for a hamburger at a fast food joint in under a minute, 2 minutes max. People are always blown away, especially in our industry. Mortgage brokers are blown away if you can service them quickly. And that's where your referrals are going to come from. So attach PDFs of floor plans and other PDFs that are essential to the documents. Capture notes from meetings and at walkthroughs. So what you're able to do is, as you're doing a walkthrough, you can take audio notes, you can record video, and you can import it in. You can add notes that can be done physically as well. You can snap photos as you're going through a property. Basically, you can capture information and have it here at your leisure at any time. So as you're going through these properties and your walkthroughs, if there's damages, if there's anything, it's all recorded at all times. All right. So they can add their own notes, clips, and ideas. So if you share this with your end user, you can have them so they can add their notes. So they can add, okay, I like this, I don't like this. So everything for each of your clients is organized. So in this case, we see that it's client Josh Scott, right? And we have all of their content, all of their information, all in one area. Keep in mind, this information goes wherever you need it to go. Okay, so closing transactions. So this is a big thing that I did as well, is I created checklists. Now, we don't use generally escrow here in Alberta, but it is something that other places do use. It's something more for the lawyers. But you can keep a checklist to see exactly where you are with your clients at any time. We can store documents like disclosures, inspections, and other information here for the client at a later time. Now, we have something in Alberta called a real property report, an RPR. And what an RPR is basically it is the engineered drawings of a land according to the eyes of the government. So it's where the land lies within the sanctioned land that the government has provided you. And the RPR is one of those documents that's extremely valuable. It's anywhere between $400 to $800 to produce. And it's also one of the ones that are easily lost after a good 5 years. So keeping these on file will definitely save your clients headache, and you can actually help them out at a later time and be that resource that you need to be as a real estate agent. As well, you can capture other very important information, such as city taxes. So you can create that evaluation for them so they can get their city taxes or their tax assessment lowered. So they're not paying as much. There's other things you can do in order to help out your client, but it's always going to stay in Evernote, and you always have those files wherever you go. So work smarter with Evernote. So how exactly has Evernote helped a team stay organized throughout the real estate transaction process? Well, in this case, they've helped educate buyers and sellers. They've centralized details about prospects, and they've enhanced collaboration with clients and team members and organized all the details. So at the end of the day, you have everything you need for your clients in one place. So you look smarter because you're organized. You look smarter in regards to working with mortgage brokers because you have your stuff together, and everything you need is there. And at the end of the day, if things don't work out and there's a lawsuit or something that's happening, you have all the information here. You have all the content here. So work smarter with Evernote and get started. So let's see how to get started. Okay, so if you're interested, if you haven't already signed up for Evernote, you can sign up for Evernote, download Evernote on yours or your team's devices. They could be, once again, iPhones, it can be iPads, Android devices, your computer, your Mac. Basically, they've produced Evernote for almost every single device out there. And what you're able to do is you're able to use it from that device and pull up the content and information you need whenever you need it. I think they used to have it for BlackBerry. I don't think they have it anymore, unfortunately. All right. So choose a project to start with and invite your team members, vendors, and clients to the notebook and get started with the sign-up link I'll send you. So at the end of this, there is going to be a sign-up link that I can send you that will help you in this process. As well as I'm going to try to see if I can send you some additional content, because we're all real estate agents here, that's going to help you in this process as well. So now for some Q&A. I'll do the workflows in a little bit. Does anyone have any questions right now that I can answer? No, nothing? Okay, that's okay. It just means I've done a really good job really explaining everything. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you my workflows and some things to note as well in my process and how I use it with my clients. This is the thing I was telling you about that's really important to really kind of showcase to other real estate agents. So when working with files, you have to make sure you keep them simple. So we've all used Dropbox. Dropbox is kind of like the sports storage area that we have in our house, or the just the general storage room. We open a door, we throw something in there, we need something, we have to go rummage through it to find it. Basically, it keeps things, yes, but it keeps things in such a way that they're not searchable and they're not found. Where Dropbox is that storage room, Evernote is the filing cabinet. And just like a filing cabinet, if you organize Evernote the same way you organize your filing cabinet, this is where it becomes easier. All your files become searchable, all your files become simple, all your files are there, so you never have to worry about losing anything. If you lose your phone, you don't lose this information. It's on Evernote. If there's a fire at work and your laptop or your computer is gone, you don't lose any of that content because it's backed up on Evernote. So here's some things that I kind of want to go over just to make things easier for you. So things to note: make sure you keep it simple. I know it sounds silly, but keeping it simple is a very important step in making sure that you use it, that information's findable, and it's clear and concise. Design it so you can use it. Basically, don't start creating unnecessary files, unnecessary folders, capturing unnecessary information. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, design it so you can use it. Design it around your workflows. So here on the left of the screen, you're going to see my workflow. So as I meet clients, they automatically go into new prospects. Once the prospect meets with me, then they go into, new prospects and prospects are the same. New is just new prospects. So new prospects are people who I've just met and have just come into my sales funnel. Prospects are people that I've started communicating with. Then once they have signed agreements, they either fall into one of two categories: buyers or sellers. Once the buyer and seller gets to the pending stage, then it goes into the pending folder here. And then once that pending agreement either closes, so recently closed, or does not close, so they go back into buyers and sellers. So the file will follow exactly the workflow that I'm working with, right? I created a templates folder. In my templates folder, I have all the information that someone needs, and I have several folders. One for buyers buying a house, one for buyers buying a condo, another for sellers selling a house, and another seller selling a condo. And so I've customized this information for the most frequently asked documents: mortgage brokers, lawyers, a buyer's guide for people who are buying, a seller's guide for people who are selling, what certain documents and information that they might need, sample contracts so they're not overwhelmed with paperwork. All of that is in the templates, and I just share that generically to my clients. So they have all of that information from day one, and I can reference back to it at any time. Once a deal has either closed or a client has either been won or lost, then they start going into completed or not completed. So not completed, I keep track of all of my clients, all the failed attempts, and I keep track of everything that's closed. And this goes back now 7 years. So I have all of that content and information. Now, in the province of Alberta, it is a separate license to get your property management license. I am also a property manager. I manage my own properties and properties for others as well. So that is my workflow. So my workflow is new prospects, buyers, then sellers, then pending, then recent closed. Another really good tip that I want to show you while I'm here is naming configurations. In Evernote, it always sorts things alphabetically. So that is why you see a period in front of inbox. So inbox is my folder where I put all of my generic content, all of my information that needs to be sorted later on. I've created a couple of other sort folders to go through, but the inbox one is, I think, the very, very first one you should create when you're working with Evernote, and that's where you should be keeping all of your content, and then moving it to where it needs to be. So we've kept it simple, design it so you can use it, design around your workflows. Remember to use it when you can. This system only becomes valuable if you put it to good use. Send information to the system and sort it later. So too many times I get an email and I'm like, okay, this is important, I got to keep it, but I don't have the time to sort it. I can send it to my inbox. So I'm using that email link, which automatically connects to that folder, my default folder, and then from there I can sort. And keep in mind, once it's in Evernote, it always keeps that file. So wherever you are, wherever you go, you have that content and you have that information with you. And that's it from this side. Now I'm going to show you a demo account that I have with Evernote to show you what it actually looks like in person. So this is the Evernote system as it looks. And when you get it, there's maybe like a few posts, some generic stuff just to get you started. But here I'm going to show you around. So there's personal and there's business. The business side represents the another feature or an added bonus if you pay for the subscription service for the business subscription service. But in the meantime, you can use a personal one, and it is free to get started. It does cost a little bit of money. I believe it's about 75 Canadian now for 1 year's worth of premium subscription in Evernote. So here you can see you can sort by tags, you can sort by years, so you can create tags as you need them. You can share with different people. You can throw things in the trash if they're not needed. But if you noticed, like the things that are in trash are not deleted automatically. You actually have to go in there and delete them at a later time. But I know if it's in this folder, it doesn't serve a real purpose to me. And then you can create shortcuts. So if there's an important folder or an important document, you can create a shortcut like this. So this is the inbox. So here we have the folders. These are similar to having, let's say, like a workbook, right? So each of these represents a workbook or a folder. And then within the folder, you have several different files. So each of these files is within this folder of inbox. So imagine having a filing cabinet, and in that filing cabinet, you have a folder named inbox. And in inbox, you're keeping all of the files that are coming in, right? Then as you would like, depending on the client or the situation, you can create another folder and another folder and another folder for that particular situation. There's also some very amazing add-on tools. One of them is when you do capture like a screenshot, you can add text, you can highlight, you can annotate, you can basically do a lot of stuff. You can add voice or voice recorder, you can add files from Google Drive, files from your desktop, we can snap photos or insert photos. Basically, you have a lot of things that you can do to manipulate the content and information here within the actual file itself. You can set it up so it automatically geolocates where you are when you're inputting information. So you're able to, at a later time, say you took a photo of a particular property, you can find that photo just by looking on a map. So we have that available to us where we can see that information. It doesn't pop up directly on this screen, but if I was to pull it up on another screen, you would see it as well. What else is there? You can share content, share information, add tags, as you saw before. There's a screenshot feature. So the screenshot feature allows us just to capture screenshots as we're going through content information. So in our case, we're looking at an MLS listing, the information doesn't look right, or there's something that we want to capture. Just click on the screenshot. You can open up your email or you can open up whatever screen and capture that information. We can see the activity that's also been done. So we can see what files have been updated and what information is currently working on. All right. And we have a lot of customization that we can do as well, right? So a really cool feature we have is presentation mode. I think I can do it here. So presentation mode, basically, where is it? There we go. So in presentation mode, it takes your notes and puts them into a presentation style like this. And what we're able to do is we're able to make any changes that we need to the document as things are coming along. So as we're presenting our documents or information, it's all here. So imagine a situation where you're working with your clients and you've seen 6 different properties. You now go back to the office and you're reviewing all those 6 properties. So you can put it into presentation mode and automatically have something that's ready to go that actually looks decent and can be shared easily. Right? So that's it for your quick walk around on Evernote and some of the things that you can do that are really cool. That's it from my end. Is there any questions or anything that I can answer right now? All right. So one of the questions I usually get is, what's the best way to send information into Evernote? So Evernote allows you to send information several different ways. One of the ways it works is, actually, I'm just going to turn on my cam here. Let's see if this works. All right. So one of the ways you can send information into Evernote is you can email it in. So when you email it in, it allows you to, it goes automatically to your default folder. So in our example, it goes into the inbox. So here's where you keep all of your information together. The next thing you can do is to create your folders that you want to use. So for instance, we want to create a new folder. So hit the plus sign. So in this case, I use a numbering system just so I can follow people throughout and in part of my workflow. So in this case, I'd use a 01, which is a prospect. And I'd also, you can write prospect, but I know 01 is a prospect. And then I'd write, now I've just created a new folder, right? So here's Joe, buyer looking for under 250,000, right? As content comes in from this folder, we can move it into the other folder, right? So we're able to transfer information from one folder to another just by dragging and dropping. Now, let's say we have a Word document. So if there's a Word document or a Word attachment, we can actually open it up from within Evernote and make the edits. It's going here. So what you're able to do is you're able to open up files within Evernote and make the changes. So let's say we had an Excel sheet. You can open up Excel, you can change something, click save, and it saves right back into Evernote and saves in Evernote overall. So there is, I'm going to see if I can do a quick example for you. All right, so so here's a really good one, right? So now I found this really good article. I'm going to copy the ULR directly into Evernote. So here we go. So you can see the ULR was just dragged and dropped and automatically turned it into a link and gather some information. Click on it. All right. And here we can see the information from that link. And we can see one of the services that Evernote can do, which is saving your stuff to a temporary link online. And you can make it look like this as well. You can also save to Evernote, which is really cool. So if we were to make changes to these files, you would see these changes right away. So I'm just trying to see what other information I can show you. All right, I'm just trying to pull up another file that might be useful. Documents, okay. Actually, I will show you my newest buyer's presentation just to show you how it works. All right, so there we go. So once again, just dragging and dropping. So it says, okay, so it does search within the PowerPoint presentation and does pull up information from the PowerPoint presentation. So, okay, here we go. Right. So now I can change something here, hit save. So for instance, here's a spelling error. This is a brand new presentation. Alberta, hit return. Now when I hit save, it's saving directly in the Evernote version. So once I close this, this is the new version, and you can see this blue mark. It means it's updating. So basically now this information is being updated. And that's how you create information and files for people. So I'm just going to check, is there any more questions before today's presentation ends? All right. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's presentation. I really appreciate it. If you ever do need to reach me, it's David Demian at remax.net or david.demian@gmail.com. I'm able to answer any of your questions. I'm also going to see if I can send you more information after this presentation that can help you in your real estate career. Evernote is a very powerful, very simplistic system that can take the shape and take over a lot of our CRMs, a lot of our emails, a lot of our database management, etc., all in one service. And it is a very small fee that we pay compared to other CRMs. My current CRM, I'm using Contactually, and I'm spending over $85 a month every single month. And that's just for the CRM service. So we as real estate agents always have a ton of programs on hand, and it makes the process very, very frustrating for us because we're spending too much money sometimes. So check out Evernote. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Once again, you can search for me by searching for david.demian at gmail.com or just david.demian. Anyways, friends, thank you so very much for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed the Evernote presentation. If there's anything else that we can do along the way, please let me know and we'll talk to you soon.